Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about alcohol, alcohol use disorder and my experience with it. And essentially my cure for it or my treatments, and because I'm still to this day overcoming it, but I've come a long way and I want to share this with you in case you yourself are struggling with alcohol. It's really ironic when I think back to it because when I was younger, I despised alcohol. I really hated it. I was so against it. I didn't like it. I didn't want to do it. My boyfriend in high school, he was a huge drinker, a huge partier. And I remember we would get into so many arguments and I would be upset with him all the time because I just couldn't get him to not drink. So we broke up, and my first sip of alcohol that I had, I was about 17 or 18 years old, and it was essentially because of him. My sister and her boyfriend told me that it would impress him, and so me being young and naive, I thought, okay. So I did. I had my first sip of alcohol to try to impress him, and it worked, I guess, but it was stupid. But even after that, I still wasn't really a consistent drinker. I would have sips here and there, but nothing really crazy. And my relationship with wine is that I used to always dislike that too. To me, wine always either tasted like vinegar or rubbing alcohol. And then about 6 years ago, I went to a wine tasting at a vineyard down in Napa Valley. And I realized that it wasn't that I didn't like wine, it's that I didn't like the right type of wine. I had never tasted something that I enjoyed, and there I got to taste a huge spectrum of different types of wines. Sweeter wines, more tart wines, Moscatos, Pinot Noirs, and I really got to know what I liked. And then after that I was like, okay, I like sweet wines, that's my thing. So then I started drinking fruit wines, and even at that point it was still such a treat to me. I started having it like once in a while, still nothing crazy. Then I would start having it with every single dinner, and it just became more and more frequent. And the more I had, the more I wanted, which is what your brain essentially does. It releases the dopamine and makes you want it because it thinks that it can't survive without it. At one point, I was drinking about a half a bottle to a bottle of wine every single night by myself. I didn't really think it was a problem until I started going to therapy. I did a survey, and she looked at me and she said, oh my God, like you scored so high on the alcohol, like what's going on? And to me, it was kind of a shock to me because I didn't think that I had a problem. And so I was kind of really offended. And so she was, pushing me to go to AA meetings and to quit and to really look at, what was going on with me. But of course, I just was stubborn. And to prove a point, I went 3 weeks without touching a drop. And I did it, and I went back to my next appointment and told her, hey, guess what? I didn't drink. I don't have a problem. I'm not an alcoholic, or I don't abuse alcohol. But then right after that, I had another drink because I was done proving to her that I wasn't addicted to this. Then I eventually stopped seeing her because she just really shamed and judged me so often, and I felt uncomfortable opening up to her. So I eventually seeked out a new therapist, which I have now, who I love. She really helped me see that it was a problem, but in a more loving and natural way. And so then I really got to looking at myself, and I was just thinking, okay, maybe I do. And so I tried to quit. So many times I tried to quit, but white knuckling it was just so hard. I couldn't make it a couple of days without it. And every day that I didn't have a drink, it was a struggle. It was such a struggle. And I would just cave, and it would just consume my thoughts. I would just think, I just want to drink. I want to drink. How come I can't have this drink? Oh, we're at this party. Why can't I have a drink? Oh, I'm at this dinner. A drink would sound amazing right now. Everyone else gets to drink. How come I can't have a drink? And it just all consumed me and my thoughts. I started talking about this with my therapist more, and she told me something about the Sinclair method. And it's basically about this one little pill called naltrexone, and you take it an hour before you drink. So what the naltrexone does is it blocks those endorphins, and it doesn't help you make that connection with the alcohol. You can still get drunk on the medication, you still feel all the effects on the alcohol, but it's blocking the learning behavior that your brain does. I just thought so desperately, I want to do this. I remember before that, I ordered things like natural, like herbs and stuff to take to help you not drink. I tried, support groups. I did the whole AA thing. It wasn't for me. And not knocking AA or anybody that it works for, but when I went in there, I couldn't relate to anybody. It was people who were in their 50s and they were a daily drinker, or they would wake up in the morning and drink from morning till night hard alcohol. And I just wasn't relating to it. I hated the aspect of me labeling myself as an alcoholic, because I believe so strongly in the power of your subconscious mind, and what you believe you manifest. So I just was really against calling myself an alcoholic. I went to my PCP and he refused to give the naltrexone to me, and at this point I had watched Claudia Christian's TED Talk about it, and I'll link that down in the description below. And it just made so much sense, and at this point I just wanted help so badly that this was my last hope, essentially. And so after that, I got in touch with my old psychiatrist, and she agreed to give me the medication. And I was terrified when I was going to start this medication, because a part of me still wanted to hold on to the alcohol. And I just thought, this isn't going to be the same. What's it going to be like? I'm not going to be able to drink anymore. But scared and excited at the same time, I popped that pill. I waited the hour, and I had my first drink, and something absolutely incredible happened. I had one glass and I was done. I didn't want any more, which had never happened to me before. I would drink until I couldn't drink anymore. I felt so in control from that point on that I would just start crying because of the relief that I felt, because it felt so good to be able to have a sip of alcohol and to be able to stop, to not go past one or two glasses. Because before, I would even have blackouts sometimes, and it would just be so overwhelming and just so much of my life. And I was doing it for all of the wrong reasons. I was self-medicating with this alcohol at one point, and that was my coping mechanism. And to this day, I am still learning how to cope with things. And sometimes when I am stressed out, or I'm really hurt, or just really bothered by a situation, there's still that part of my brain that's like, Tiffany, go get that drink. It's gonna help you feel better. But now I pop the medication and I take my drink, and it doesn't help me feel better, and I feel worse that I took it. And so this has really changed my life. And if you are struggling with alcohol use disorder, if you've tried everything, if you've tried sobriety, if you've tried white knuckling, if you've tried AA, another great thing that I did was read Annie Grace's book, This Naked Mind, and I will link that in the description below too, because again, it really helps rewire your brain. But if you have tried all of these options and you cannot, then there's hope. You don't have to be sick. You don't have to die from this. You don't have to be addicted. There's something out there that's amazing and that will work. And I highly recommend you try this, because it is honestly, it's been a miracle to me. It's been a lifesaver. And where I am at right now on my journey with the Sinclair method, I am about 6 months in. They say extinction happens about 9 months, but I feel like I'm 90% there. And it just feels so amazing to want tea instead of wine, to want to get out and move and be healthy and experience life, because I had been numbed out on this for so long. It's honestly just incredible. It's such a shame that a lot of people don't know about this, because it's a lifesaver. It really is. And alcohol kills more people in the United States than cocaine and heroin. It's hard that this is the only drug that you have to justify not taking. And I have to do that even now. Most of the time I lie to, my friends and my family that why I'm not drinking. Like, oh, I don't feel like it, or I'm not feeling good, or I'm having anxiety, because I do struggle with anxiety too. But I've had such a hard time with the support system trying to quit. There are those few people in my life that do support me with not drinking, but the majority of them, it's just such a strong point in my family and our culture and tradition and social gatherings that it's just so difficult to stay sober and to have those people who support you. But what my therapist tells me is that there's going to come a time where they're going to give up trying to pressure you, because they're going to realize every time that they ask, it's not working. I just wanted to share my experience with you guys. If you guys have any questions about my experience with alcohol use disorder, if I didn't touch on anything, please feel free to ask in the comment section. And I will also link down below the website to the C3Foundation.org. It's run by Claudia Christian, and it's all about the Sinclair method. There's resources for books, for doctors, for information. Everything that you need to know about the Sinclair method and naltrexone is on there. So I will also link that. And again, if you are struggling, there is hope. I will also link down below the Facebook support group called the Sinclair Method Warriors. It has been something that's helped me extremely too, especially because I said that I don't have that strong support system when it comes to sobriety and abstinence. I will link that there below too, because it has helped me so much. They are just so supportive and always there to help and lend out a hand and to answer any questions or concerns, or just, to be there as a shoulder. So again, if you are struggling, you are not alone. There is hope, and you can do this. You can. So I'll see you guys in the next video, and have a wonderful rest of your day.